Welcome to More Than A Paycheck, the podcast for high achievers who feel trapped in their job but know something has to change. If your bad manager and toxic work environment have you stressed and working crazy hours, and you want an easier solution than finding a new job, you're in the right place. Let's do this. Hey y'all, real quick. Okay, I just want to clear something up. I've been hearing this multiple times, kind of this myth about career coaching that it's only for executives or people really high up in their career making tons of money. But here's the truth. If you are working 40 plus hours a week and you want those hours to be better, career coaching is for you. It is not required to be an executive. It is not about fancy leadership jargon and executive presence. It's about practical skills like managing the stress and overwhelm, communicating effectively, creating healthy boundaries, getting paid what you deserve, things everyone needs, regardless of your job title. We all struggle with the same things. Sunday scaries don't care if you're an executive or not, they show up. So if you're struggling and you're looking for some help, there's so many options out there. Don't feel like you have to wait to use these options until you're an executive. Schedule a coffee chat with me. Schedule a coffee chat with people at your work. Reach out to mentors. You have so many resources available to you. Do not buy into the myth that you have to be an executive to utilize these tools and have them benefit you. Okay, today we're going to dive into part 2 of our imposter syndrome series. So if you haven't listened to the last episode, go do that because today's going to build on from those concepts. But at a high level, we talked about where did imposter syndrome come from and what is the biggest problem? So remember, the biggest problem is thinking it's a problem to feel like you're an imposter. It's simply a feeling you have when you're new at something and you want to be good at it. It is not a problem. So today we're going to talk about what does that look like in actual practice? How does that actually come to play? There's a social media person I follow for a lot of various reasons, and I just love them and the life that they live. And it's fascinating to me. One of the things they have is a family motto that I'm always trying to adopt. And their motto is, no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we go all in. So they had recently moved their family across the country, and they had moved from a very particular culture to a very different culture within the United States. And it was so fun to watch them go all in. They go all in on the social norms in this new place, in the games that people play in this new place, in the way people dress in this new location. They go all in on social groups, on the schools. Like they just go all in. And I love this. And this is something I want to try to live by. I tend to focus on the past and what was. Now, I'm also not a very sentimental person, but sometimes I'm missing out like the moments I'm having right now because I'm thinking about what was. So I'm always trying to live from this mentality of whatever it is I'm choosing to spend my time on, whatever it is I'm choosing to provide in my immediate surrounding, I go all in. This same concept applies to imposter syndrome. We want to go all in on it. Remember, it's not a problem. But the reason we want to go all in is there's 2 big reasons. The first is what you resist will persist. So if you're trying to pretend like it's not there, it's just going to get more intense. If you're trying to avoid it altogether, you're just going to slow yourself down from reaching the goals you want. And now you're not dealing with imposter syndrome. You're dealing with anger and frustration and resentment. We want to go all in on imposter syndrome because 1, what you resist persists. And 2, it's important because your nervous system, so how you feel, hates new things, hates them. Doesn't matter if it's a good thing. If it's new, it's a hard pass. It does not want something hard. It does not want scary. It does not want unknown. It sees anything new as dangerous and bad. So we got to go all in to train our body, to train our nervous system. This is normal. This is part of the process. So what does that look like? It looks like learning how do you feel like an imposter? How do you feel? You got to get out of your head and in your body. You need some meditative breathing. You got to focus on different areas of your body and where you feel it and describe it and let it be and take care of yourself while you're in it. So let me give you an example of what this looks like for me as I've dealt with some situations of feeling like an imposter. When I was working at Amazon, there were many scenarios where I was presenting big, large strategic documents to very senior executive leaders. Some of them were even the S team. In Amazon fashion, you write these 6-page documents, you spend a ton of time working on it, and then you present them in these meetings and you sit in awkward silence for about half the meeting, and then you discuss it for the other half of the meeting. So let me just kind of walk you through what would typically happen when I would have one of these experiences and I was going through imposter syndrome. I usually start by preparing the document, and then I get a million people's feedback on it as much as I can. I'm stressing about it. I work nights and weekends. I'm not sleeping very well. I'm worrying about it, and I keep tinkering with it all the way through to the very end. And then towards the end, I usually start to make really dumb mistakes, like sending an email ahead of time with the document attached so people have a digital copy when they come into the meeting, and forgetting to attach the document, right? Just like these dumb mistakes is usually what happens to me. Okay, so day of the meeting, for sure I haven't slept well the night before, okay? And I usually wake up with that sick feeling in my stomach. Like there's this stomach ache I get when I take really early morning flights somewhere, or I get up at 2 or 3 in the morning. It's my body just hasn't rested enough and my stomach knows that it's a little mad at me. I get that same stomach ache when I'm feeling like an imposter. So I'm going to go into this meeting. My hands are going to be super cold and clammy. They're disgusting. You don't want to shake my hand. My chest gets really splotchy. In fact, sometimes it'll climb up my neck, depending on how much emotion I'm feeling. And usually I'm going to walk in and I'm going to be a little bit fake, overly happy. Again, I'm nervous. I'm feeling insecure, feeling like an imposter. My armpits are going to sweat the whole time. And it's going to be like a cold sweat. My voice usually is shaky at the beginning as I'm kicking off the meeting or passing out the document. And then I know we're going to sit there in this meeting and read awkwardly, quietly together for anywhere from, 15 to 30 minutes. So here's what happens. Those feelings of insecurity as we're sitting in silence, they start to grow. And I start looking around the room and I'm overanalyzing if someone's writing down something. I'm like, oh, they don't agree with this. They have a lot of questions. This is going bad. My brain is literally trying to read the room and it's looking for validation that I'm an idiot and I've done this wrong and this is bad and I shouldn't be doing this, right? Your brain would rather be right than feel good. So I'm just going all in. This is what my brain's doing. It's trying to help me. I know it's not helpful in the moment, but I'm going all in on feeling this. My brain is also trying to read the room and gauge their response to the document from their facial expressions or how quickly they're reading the document. Because my past experience tells me leaders that agree with the document and aren't going to give a lot of pushback, they kind of skim and go quickly through the document. If not, they're going to read it line by line and start really poking holes in it. So as we're sitting there in silence, my heart starts to beat really fast and I tend to get even more sweaty. And yet I'm also freezing cold and sometimes my body will shake. I'm so cold. My chest feels like it's full of air and yet I also can't catch my breath because it's almost like really light but thick gray fog that's trying to push out of my chest and my stomach. Right? So it's hard for me to catch my breath. It's very fluttery and full of tons of energy. It's not heavy, it's light. Sometimes it feels like I urgently need to pee when I know I don't because for sure I went to the bathroom before this meeting. Sometimes when it gets really intense, I feel like I can feel my heart beating in my head and my legs are almost numb. It's not numb where I notice them, but I'm not even aware of what the lower half of my body feels like. And I'm usually abnormally still. Okay. Again, I'm just sitting in the meeting, feeling all the self-doubt, feeling like an imposter. I'll try to sit there and take a few really deep breaths and just acknowledge all the fog and the air and the clammy hands and the pits that are sweating and just let it be there. Okay. And here's the thing that I found. as I've practiced feeling like an imposter. It's usually really intense, really sweaty, really cold, really clammy, really hard to breathe for about 3 to 4 minutes if it's a scenario where we're sitting there reading in silence. Okay. If it's a scenario where we're talking through it, it usually is really intense for about 2 to 3 minutes. Now, it's still there for the rest of the meeting. It's just a little bit duller. So for the rest of the meeting, my heart usually slows down and I don't feel that like pounding in my head, but my hands for sure are going to be clammy the whole meeting and I'm definitely going to sweat and pit out. That foggy air in my chest, it's still there for the rest of the meeting, but it's not like pushing and trying to get out. It just like sits there. So it makes it a little bit easier for me to breathe. It's still uncomfortable, but it's not as intense. And then after the meeting, guarantee I'm going to crash. Not only did I not sleep well and I'm not eating well, but I just had so much energy racing through my body as I was trying to sit there and look casual and calm. I'm exhausted. My brain is going to slow down, and for the rest of the day, I can still probably work, but it's got to be pretty mundane things, nothing that requires a lot of brain power. I might start to feel hungry, but nothing's going to sound good. And my body temperature, because it got so cold, is going to overcompensate, and I usually get really hot because it's trying to get me back to normal. I'm going to want to talk about it and process it with someone, but it's got to be someone that I trust. And then I'm just going to want to sleep and rest and just let my brain chill out for the rest of the day. Is it fun? No. Is it going to kill me? No. Is it pretty? For sure, no. It's not pretty. But is it normal? Yeah. Has everyone in that room felt that at some point? Yes. Is it how I learn? Yes. Now, here's the thing. I know what it feels like. I know how long it lasts. I know what to expect. So that also means I can prepare and take care of myself. I know my chest is going to get all splotchy. So guess what? I'm going to wear something with a higher neck to cover it. Not because there's anything wrong with the splotchy chest. I just don't want them to see it. It makes it easier for me to feel and process it when I'm not worried that they can see it. I'm going to plan after that meeting for a break. I'm going to put it on my calendar and schedule out time to just take a break. I'm going to make sure I don't have crazy plans that night. I'm going to talk to a friend ahead of time and say, hey, I've got this thing. Can I call you at this time to just kind of debrief with you? I'm going to go to the bathroom and I'm going to look myself in the mirror, in the eyes, and I'm going to thank myself for doing the hard thing. And I'm going to practice breathing, and I'm going to thank my body for helping me while it felt scared. And then I'm going to give myself time to just rest. I'm going to go to bed. And the next day, I'm going to get up and I'm going to work on fixing all the things I did wrong with the document and probably do it again eventually soon. This is what I mean when I say we got to go all in on letting it be. Let it be there. Feel like an imposter. What you resist will persist. And the more you feel it, the less intense it'll be because your nervous system hates new things. Now, the next question I usually get asked is something along the lines of like, yeah, but what do you do if you just have so much self-doubt and the doc review isn't going well and you're getting a lot of pushback and people are mad and you just can't get over it because you're just an idiot? How do you get over that self-doubt? I'm going to talk about that in episode 3. So make sure you subscribe because I'm going to teach you how do you get over that self-doubt when you're really just stuck in it. Okay? Remember, we go all in. It's not a problem to feel like an imposter. It's a part of the process. It means you're learning and you're growing and you care about this thing, so you want to learn and grow. All right, y'all. You're amazing. Go feel like an imposter. You got this. We'll talk soon. Hey, you didn't schedule a coffee chat yet. Remember, that's the next step. There's so much more I can help you with. You're going to leave this coffee chat knowing a few things you can try right now, depending on your specific situation. This is not a sales call. My goal is simply to help however I can. If I do think coaching can help, I can tell you about it, but I'm currently on a wait list for new clients. Click the link in the show notes or go to lindsaylymancoaching.com/chat to get on my calendar. I only offer a few coffee chats a week and it's first come, first serve, so don't wait. Chat with you soon.